Public Participation in Salmon Farm Planning Permissions, Part 3, the Highland-wide Local Development Plan. Here we outline legal constraints that in the past have stopped planning permission for a salmon farm in its tracks, so we have a precedent we can cite. When we point it out to the Highland Council in our comments, will they take notice, or will they respond only to a well-informed member of the Planning Committee speaking out? Are we, the public, able to make sure that at least some committee members know what they're doing? Highland Council planning committees never used to refer to the Highland Council's own Highland-wide local development plan, which includes policies directly applicable to aquaculture. But eventually, on the 27th of October 2015, the Planning Committee was shocked out of its complacency by an amendment tabled by Councillor Craig Fraser, SNP Black Isle. Councillor Fraser had scrutinised the Highland-wide local development plan and proposed that 6 policies would be contravened if the Lochpool Teal Isle of Skye fish farm were granted planning permission.
Now, I've taken into consideration local interests, and I'll put forward an amendment to refuse this application on environmental grounds on the policies outlined on page 33 and policy 36, 49, 50, 57 and 58, and I will look for a seconder at that time.
The meeting had to stop for half an hour so that the clerk could ascertain the legality of the amendment. When eventually the meeting reconvened, Councillor Fraser summarised his amendment.
My amendment is to refuse the application as it's contrary to policies 36, development in the wider countryside, 49, coastal development, 50, aquaculture, 57, natural, built and natural heritage and protected species.
The Chair then asked the clerk,
Mr Mackenzie, could you tell us if these reasons are competent?
Policy 36, not compatible with landscape carrying capacity due to its position and setting in this landscape. Policy 57, because this application compromises the natural environment due to its position and setting in the landscape. Policy 58, insufficient evidence of lack of impact on wildlife. And Country Policy 50, due to landscape character, scenic and visual amenity, with reference to the SNH Commission report on the landscape and seascape carrying capacity for aquaculture. So it's refused for these reasons, Chair.
Okay, thank you for that. So the application for the fish farm at Lochpool Teal has been refused.
After a long discussion about the pros and cons of salmon farming, the application was dispatched at a stroke by simply invoking long-established law. Probably for the first time, the Highland-wide local development plan had played its proper role in fish farm legislation. Unfortunately, we must report that Kames Fish Farming Limited appealed against the entirely correct decision, which was then overturned by a government-appointed reporter whose limited understanding of the subject was very obvious in her reasoning. Councillor Fraser was absent from the next significant fish farm planning application. The Planning Committee councillors stumbled ineptly through their discussion, and the Highland-wide local development plan that should have been fresh in their minds was not mentioned. The decision to allow the development passed according to the conventional and ridiculously naive contention that the provision of a few jobs outweighs the well-being of the marine environment. Now that we, the public, are aware that reference to the Highland-wide local development plan can inform and affect the Planning Committee's decisions, we must incorporate these arguments in our comment submissions. Councillor Fraser has retired, and it is now up to other concerned Highlanders to press his well-informed argument, which has its foundations in law. For your information, here are the policies that in their different ways ought to preclude the installation of fish farms in Scotland's coastal waters. Policies 50, 57, 58, 59 and 60. Press pause to read or download a copy of the Highland-wide local development plan. The link is provided in the notes below this video. Visit the Scottish Salmon Think Tank's YouTube channel, where we provide many more information and discussion-packed videos about salmon farming.